We are now call upon Chief Guest Mr. Shyam Srinivasan, Managing Director and CEO of Federal Bank, to deliver the convocation address.
Very good evening, everybody. How are you all? How are you all? I know you have all your seniors and your faculty and director, chancellor, the vice chancellor. But would you like to have a screen off? That is 20 year olds in India, right? Don't use the energy. I don't have a large speaker, a long speech. Would you like me to speak? It's not over yet. Would you like me to speak from a script or would you like to engage in a conversation? Should I put you back? What do you want to ask me? Would you like? Seriously, I'm not joking. I took the permission of your seniors here, and they agreed that if I have the ability to connect with you, a good conversation is welcome. So, would you really like a conversation? Okay. So, what would you like us to talk about? Just give me two topics. Usually, they don't go together. Okay, let's just firstly, thank you very much. Congratulations, everybody. Fa- Father Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, directors, dean, faculty, students, parents, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here this evening. I genuinely will try and keep it interactive. I've put my speech aside. A few years ago, on a similar occasion in 2014-15, when I had a chance to be the chief guest for an occasion like this, uh, in another campus. It was, I remember, the peak of summer, and they asked me to wear this robe. And I was sweating and dripping within. I'm so delighted today. It's an air-conditioned hall, and that too, it's in Bangalore, so I'm not sweating within. Uh, the topic then I spoke to, and thankfully, there were two students who ended up joining our bank. So before I came here yesterday, I just called those two and said, "Do you remember anything I said in April 15 in that speech?" They drew a blank. They said, "Sir, we were not interested in hearing what you were saying. We were happy getting our degree, meeting our colleagues, and we had a good time. But there's one thing that we remembered, and you spoke about an acronym which they liked. Though they didn't know the expansion of it, they remembered the word. So, since you asked me to speak about leadership, I'll try and give you an acronym. At least, hopefully, you won't forget that when you leave the campus today. And a few years later, if I ever have a chance to speak to you, I'm told 10 of you are joining our bank, so welcome to the bank. I will ask you that question. Do you remember the acronym? Leadership. There is no textbook for leadership. Any practice is good, but the idea of leadership is about connecting. The idea of leadership is the ability to engage with people, try and help them realize their best version, right? That is what it is all about. Many of you, particularly the folks who finished your master's program, are probably already started working or will be working, and not far from now, you will be leading teams. You think that your team is going to look at you and say, "Hey, listen, why are you any different from me? Why should I follow you?" Right? That's the question that people are going to ask you. And that's my first thought that comes to my mind. I don't know if you've all seen a video clip of a guy called Drew Dudley. I strongly recommend, if you've never seen it, go and see it. It's just a 4 or 5 minute clip. It's a TED talk. And it talks of something called lollipop moments. So the first thought I want to leave with you is try and create many lollipop moments as a leader. And what does that mean? When you least expect to get recognition, when you're down, when somebody calls you out and gives you that extra hug or that extra sense of feeling and make you feel more important, you've connected with that person. The normal congratulations, well done, sending a mail, that is conventional practice, right? There's nothing wrong with it. You must do it. But that's taken for granted. But when you do it in a manner at a time when you least expect it, and it comes from here, and you reach the other person, that's the first step in your leadership journey. You've created a lollipop moment where you've tried to connect with that person, not because you feel good, because you've made the other person feel good. So since one of you asked me about leadership, I'd encourage you to think about leadership through the lens of creating many lollipop moments. All of us know Bruce Lee, right? You know Bruce Lee. One of his favorite lines, one of the many good lines that he gave in the few years that he was alive, was to hell with circumstances, I create my own opportunities. I don't know if you remember that line. Leadership is again about creating opportunities. You create the opportunities, you make sure. So the good news is all of you, just all of you, are served with the same set of environment. You all come out of a good campus, you've all had good education, you've all cleared your various courses. Now you're getting to work, whether it's personal, you're going to become self-employed, you're going to become, work in a large company, whatever it is. The opportunities you create. The world is serving everybody equally. Nobody gets this, sort of privileged treatment once you've cleared these kind of programs. How do you convince yourself, convince your peers, convince everyone, and most importantly, create that opportunity, grab that opportunity, convert that opportunity into some kind of a success is in your hands. So the second thought about leadership I would ask you to consider is, to hell with circumstances, create your own opportunities. Instead of moving on in this theme of Bruce Lee and Drew Dudley, I'll talk about Matt Damon. Matt Damon, everybody knows, actor. There's a movie called We Bought a Zoo. Everybody seen the movie called We Bought a Zoo? See that. But that second is not about the movie. It's about an expression in the movie that at least caught my fancy. And that is about 20 seconds of insane courage. 20 seconds of insane courage. We all talk about life as many challenges and, it's difficult. It is. But you will often find the one that makes that cut, that one whose nose is ahead, the one that edges past, is the one at the last point made that courageous call. So I'd encourage all of you, particularly youngsters, when you have very little to lose and a long innings ahead of you in creating a career, that 20 seconds of insane courage will make a difference. Right? You look around life, you look around yourself, your past, you look around friends, you look around leaders you worship, people you respect, people you don't respect. It's that call. It's that, the first time you dip your hand in cold water, it's kind of difficult. After a while, it disappears, right? So that I'd encourage you to think about 20 seconds of insane courage. So the third thought around leadership is courage. We live in a world of social media. I'm sure all of you, I saw many of you walking up with your phones in your hand. I'm sure as you went back, you were posting in your social media groups, updating Insta Reels, WhatsApp messages, Facebook, whatever, right? I'm 100% sure. And we live in a world of like, follow, subscribe. Correct? I'm going to recommend the exact opposite. Unlike, unsubscribe. Don't subscribe to the ordinary. Unsubscribe to the ordinary. Right? Unlike the routine. Unfollow the routine. So my advice to you is, it's not follow, like, and subscribe, which you will do in your social media handles, but be courageous to have unfollow the routine, unsubscribe the ordinary. Tell yourself that I will be insanely passionate about creating something special. Because if you don't do that and you don't create that for yourself, you can't be the leader that you want to be. Careers are long. Don't try to sprint the marathon. Try to run it as a sprint. Try to run the marathon just like a marathon, but break it into many sprints. So I'd advise all of you to think about how you're going to ensure that you unfollow, unsubscribe, unlike the routine and the ordinary, and try to create your own path. Robert Frost famously said, I came across two paths in the yellow woods, and I took the less beaten one, and I am where I am. I'd ask all of you to think about that and create your own path. Now, whenever I talk to younger crowds, I try to think about uh, what the Japanese have fantastic coinages for almost everything, right? They have so many words and concepts, which is so fulfilling and has a deep meaning. So, thinking about that, I'll give you a word that I recently came across. It's called shuhari. Shuhari. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. If anybody knows Japanese, please correct me. But what it is important is it has three sort of sub meanings: shu, ha, and ri. And the shu means first is immerse in the fundamentals, know the fundamentals well, which is what all of you youngsters should do and invest your time in. Build your base, build fundamentally strong propositions, know the basics. Don't try to build edifices on something that is weak in basics, weak platform. It'll fall fast. So the first principle is about shu is create or understand or immerse yourself in the fundamentals. The second, once you've sort of got a sense of that shu, is the ha, where you start constructing things that question that whole premise, the whole promise, and start thinking about it differently. Put an angle and a twist that makes sure that you can challenge convention, not just because you want to be destructive, but you want to be constructively challenging things. That's the load of a leader. You're all here to create. I heard you read your pledge. Don't treat the pledge lightly. The pledge has deep meaning. You've committed in front of a large audience to be a great citizen of India, committed to environment, committed to society, committed to development. That won't happen if you just follow just the routine and just take the sort of a pedestrian path. I encourage all of you to think about the ha aspect of how you will challenge convention. And the last is about re. The re is how do you create the new solutions and become the master at it. Those of you who are Star Wars fan may remember how Darth Vader started as Skywalker and then became Darth Vader and then went out and said, I am not what you thought I was. I am the new me. I am the master. To become the master, you have to go through the shuhari process, because that's what success is going to come to us. Now, if you've been attentive and listening to my two bits, I spoke about lollipop movement. I spoke about creating opportunities. Spoke about insane courage. I spoke about unfollow. And lastly, I spoke about shuhari. The alphabets of lollipop, opportunities, the first alphabet of lollipop, opportunities, courage, unfollow, and shuhari. Can anybody tell me what's the 5 alphabets stitching up to? Create your own locus. That's my message to you all. Create your own locus. Focus on your locus. Don't be just another person. Go out and prove to the world that all the Christites, right? That's how you call yourselves. All the Christites of this batch. Nobody will be prouder than the people on this podium here, on the stage here, to see each of you flourish, succeed. And truly, if you do this well, the young crowd that asks for money, it will follow. Right? So let me just close by wishing you all a great career, much success, and focus on your locus. God bless. Thank you very much.